1901, Thomas Young allowed monochromatic light to pass through two very narrow slits and projected it onto a screen. Young expected to see two shadows. Instead, he discovered fringes. Today, quantum mechanics offers two conflicting explanations for Young's slit experiment. On the one hand, quantum assumes that light consists of discrete particles. On the other, quantum takes light to be a continuous electromagnetic wave. Here we show that neither individually nor merged into the famous wave packet that Roger Penrose illustrates in one of his books. Can these proposals explain the slit experiment? We start our analysis with one of the most famous anecdotes of mathematical physics. In 1927, at the 5th Solvay Conference in Brussels, the two giants of mathematical physics, Albert Einstein and Niels Bohr, discussed Young's slit experiment in terms of particles. Einstein tried to convince Bohr that his thought experiment debunked quantum. He illustrated that a beam of discrete photons would bounce off the frame or windowsill of the slit and travel to the screen. Bohr defended quantum by arguing that when the particles struck the windowsill, they would move the entire partition sideways before they arrived at the screen. Indeed, everyone who invokes discrete particles to explain the slit experiment today has the same misconceived explanation, that discrete particles bounce off the windowsills of the slits and then impact the screen. Toronto University physics teacher David Harrison actually illustrates particles striking the frame of the slit and bouncing inwards. What if we remove the windowsill, the entire frame, and leave only the center? What if we replace the double slits with a needle? What will the particles bounce against now? Let's do the slit experiment with a laser pointer and a needle stuck to a rubber cork. Here we see the laser pointer sitting on a chair, pointing at the body rather than at the eye of a needle, which is sitting on another chair. At the far wall, you see a tiny bright light. Yeah, I'm sorry to disappoint you. This is not going to be a billion-dollar Large Hadron Collider type experiment. Let's go up here to see the red light up close. We verified Thomas Young's fringes. No more needs to be said. We produce these fringes not by passing light through slits, but by passing the light around the needle. Let's recap to drive home the message. We can all imagine a stream of particles striking the windowsill as discussed by both Einstein and Bohr and animated by Harrison. But if we remove the windowsill, the entire frame, and leave only the center, in this case the needle, what will the particles bounce against now? The entire stream of particles should go straight ahead and never reach anywhere near the center of the screen, or produce interference fringes. Murley and Tanamura claimed in separate papers to have produced interference fringes by shooting one electron at a time. Both teams used grounded plates to deflect the alleged single electrons. Can Murley or Tanamura perform their electron experiments without grounded plates, with just a needle like we did here? If not, the onus is on them to justify the reason for the different behaviors of photons and electrons. Yet more fundamental, if as Murley and Tanamura claimed they juggled one electron at a time, they should be able to tell us what an electron looks like. And if not an electron, certainly the much larger atom. Are Murley and Tanamura invoking Bohr's thoroughly debunked planetary model of the atom to justify their claims that they handled one electron at a time? Are they saying that they were able to remove the orbiting bead from Bohr's planetary atom and bounce it off the walls of their grounded plates? Neither Murley nor Tanamura proved that they handled individual electrons. They never saw an electron in their entire lives. Both Murley and Tanamura assumed that the impacts on their respective screens were caused by single electrons.
You can be confident that electrons are particles.
Tanimura has not provided any evidence that he is staring at electron impacts other than his unjustified personal opinion.
When accumulated, however, interference fringes are formed. We have reached a conclusion which is far from what our common sense tells us.
Yes, here we agree. Tanimura's conclusions are nonsensical. They are irrational and unsubstantiated because pseudoscientists, amateurs such as Merli and Tanimura, rely on Bohr's thoroughly debunked planetary model of the atom. If their assumptions are patently wrong, their conclusions are bound to be no much better. Waves run into the same predicament. A wave theorist explains that light generates fringes, like water waves do when they interfere with each other after passing the slits.
If the top of one wave meets the bottom of another wave, they cancel each other out. So now, there is an interference pattern on the back wall.
What would happen if we remove the outer walls of the slits? Dr. Quantum provides the answer. Waves that go around the slits do not interfere with each other. They spread out. Here is a simulation of waves passing a single obstacle, which could very well be a needle. As you can see, the waves spread out and generate no interference pattern. Hence, neither a stream of particles nor the water wave model that the quantum mathematicians invoke can simulate Bill Gates' needle experiment, which, as we have just shown, produces interference fringes. The rope hypothesis, on the other hand, enables us to explain both Young's slit and Bill Gates' needle experiments in a single stroke. In videos 7 and 8, we propose that all atoms in the universe are interconnected by electromagnetic ropes. Light consists of torsions of these ropes. Under the rope hypothesis, the atoms comprising the filament of the laser pointer are already connected to the atoms comprising the needle, which are connected to the atoms comprising the screen, before we even start the experiment. When we turn on the light, the electromagnetic ropes torque at a higher frequency and allow objects to come within visible range. Then, it's just your standard high school wave explanation. If the ropes are in phase, we see constructive interference. If the links are out of phase, we have destructive interference. This mechanism enables us to visualize why light seems to go around corners. As a bonus, the rope hypothesis enables us to explain a phenomenon that has haunted the religion of mathematical physics for 100 years. Relativists allege that particles or waves of light coming from an eclipsed star bounce against or roll around the sun's gravity well and get deflected towards the Earth. Under the rope hypothesis, the atoms comprising that distant star are already connected to the atoms comprising the sun's corona, which are bound to every atom comprising the Earth. The torsion of these electromagnetic ropes is what brings the light of that hidden star to our eyes. Gravitational lensing, the slit experiment, and the needle experiment are one and the same phenomenon. One-way particles, waves, or wave packets have no chance of explaining such observations rationally.